Bullish updates on VPP, why I'm still holding and why I'll be buying more on the correction. Welcome back, my name is Stan. I am the CEO and co-founder of an international custom software development company. We work with the city of New York, SAP and General Electric and others. I have 200 people under management, and on this channel I'm sharing my strategy on turning 500k into 10 million in crypto. In this video we will go through bullish updates on VPP, hustle in the game, changing opinion on the token as well, what is happening with the project and what I think will happen next. So guys, let's kick things off with VPP. It's interesting that after the previous pump of Becker essentially went in search from 004 to 007, it still holds at this stage, so it's nice kind of crawling up. And as mentioned, I think ETH narrative would return, and this is talking on ETH specifically. It's kind of an older project actually, and with Gamblify and Gamify, I think it's very nice pick. Things I wanted to share. So a lot of people know Hustle in the game. He's essentially presenting things on Gaming Show on CryptoBunter, and I'm in his private community. I own his NFT as well, and we see that around 2 weeks ago someone asked, because I think he was doing a video on Gamblify or he posted something in terms of the Gamblify tokens, and someone asked like, hey, why haven't you mentioned VPP or Polkar? Don't you like them? And he mentioned that he's not a huge fan and these are life cycle Becker tokens in his opinion. Not a bad thing, but he is looking for a fresher stuff. An interesting thing happened yesterday where he basically changed his opinion and he showcased VPP in his video in terms of my next major gaming altcoin buy. So following this title, he would probably be buying VPP, or he already bought it because he basically in contact with a lot of influencers. He definitely has insights. He's definitely talking to a lot of teams in gaming, and I like Hustle due to the fact that with his calls, if you hear himself calling projects, that's definitely mean that it's not the top for these projects and for the market as well, because often he's calling things before they would be doing some access, and that's how he's essentially growing the channel because people are making money. So it's very nice to see VPP call. We understand that we might be moving forward into the top at this stage, but we're still early in terms of these things, and I think it's still 2, 3, 4x for VPP from these numbers within this 48 pump of BTC that we're essentially waiting on the channel as well. So let's listen to him for some time.
This one's been getting a lot of love from Becker and some other altcoin traders out there, and that's VPP, Virtue Poker. Now, Virtue Poker was a last cycle token in regards to,
So we'll not be watching the whole video, just interesting that he put this token in best tokens to accumulate part of his video, and he essentially talking about it for quite a while. And between all the tokens that he put in this section, he's talking about VPP the most, and it's only at 6 million market cap currently, so it's quite interesting by itself. The things that he's mentioning on the video and the things that he's showing on the video is basically the post from VPP from 14th of December, so around 2 weeks ago, around the time where he basically mentioned in his Discord that he's not a huge fan of this project, and they're sharing the data in terms of growing amount of users. And this is essentially one of the most bullish metrica for any project, and it's quite interesting because this metric, it kind of shows us the future. So the fact that it has a lot of users currently, it's nice. The fact that users are growing on the product is definitely nice, but usually it's not yet displayed on the price and it's not yet appreciated by the market at this stage if they're showing it here. So these are the things that are usually before the time that the token is actually pumping, because they're essentially getting momentum from these small things, and people that understand these things after seeing this post, they would buy into the token. More and more people buy in, and it's quite interesting that they mention it at 14th of December, and Becker, I think he pumped these things around 2 to 3 days ago. So he might also just be checking in like this information in terms of the token and things like that. We have partnerships established with Ethereum, Denver, Decentral Games. Decentral Games is huge. It's a first metaverse casino. It's just a great company with revenue and things like that. So it's just crazy. With the Neo Tokyo Code Club, the founder of essentially Virtue Poker is inside Neo Tokyo. I'm also inside Neo Tokyo, and you can send him a message. You can tag him as well. It works for the new year. And we have several other major partners, clubs and events in the pipeline, with the charity tournament in the works for January. Interesting things that VPP were doing through the last cycle is constantly holding playing tournaments with famous people in the niche. So some crypto influencers, YouTube influencers, and things like that. Before the end of the year, we will be adding support for Pulse Chain, Scale Network, and are working on adding AVAX as we remain chain agnostic. That's bullish as well. The more chains they will be presented on, the more people would be playing this thing, the more liquidity the token would essentially have as well. And Hustle on his video, he mentions that Pulse Chain is for Degens currently. So there are a bunch of Degens on this chain. So it's great that Gamblify game is essentially increasing the exposure to this chain as well. Our mission remains the same: to allow communities to use the game of poker to facilitate great engagement and socialization among members. Yeah, that's a very nice thing because poker, virtual poker, is being played in near Tokyo already. And it's a very nice thing in terms of different communities being able to play poker, connect their crypto wallets and play with their crypto. It's a great utility for any crypto community. When you're playing poker, you can discuss so much stuff, and it's also exciting. So it's very, very exciting to hold kind of communications like this and things like that. And I think some type of stream, some types of AMA where people can be playing poker and at the same time be answering the questions and talking about things, they're just very, very exciting in terms of the utility. So they're showing the proof of the website traffic and things like that. They're specifically showing it in the video, because in the video, when everything is updating, it's hard to kind of change the source code of the page and be able to kind of fake this thing. So it's the same news. So interesting thing about virtual poker is how easy it is to basically start the game. So you can just go on the website and you would be on the website right away. You just click start a quick game. You can send this link to your friends and you can start play right away. So it's a very great thing from user experience. I only need to do 2 clicks in order to use the product. I don't need to sign up. I don't need to connect my wallet. I can just start play poker, which is very, very nice by itself. Probably, it's enter display name. So Stan, join, and I can be playing once other people would join. And like the only one thing I need them to start playing is to send them the link. They click on the link and it's pretty straightforward. No sign up, no login is basically required. So it's very, very nice from the user experience point of view. Just 2 clicks, you can use the products right away. It's crazy. Like, tell me about similar user experience with web products, Web3 products like right now. Even in Web2 products, like you have to accept cookies, you have to sign up, you have to log in. It's just a number of useless actions that provide zero value to the users that are essentially coming to the platform. And here it's very straightforward. It's very easy to use. And other interesting thing is that you can log in not only with just email and password, so you kind of can play it in Web2 way as well. And it's pretty nice game by itself. So it's very straightforward. You can just go and play poker. And I don't think there are a lot of like poker available where you can just go and play right away, where you can just send the link. It's very, very easy to kickstart the game. I was playing it sometimes with the guys I have in the office, and it took 0 time to basically start playing on the platform. And we did not need to like sign up and things like that. Send the link, start playing. So you can connect your MetaMask as well. And after that, you would be able to use your crypto essentially with this wallet and be able to bid and play with your crypto, which is very interesting and very bullish. And as mentioned, I think it's a great utility for any Web3 community. So bullish on the user experience on the website and the things that you can do in terms of playing poker with your own crypto as well. We would also go through the LinkedIn page, how they are set up, and the team members as well. Conceived in 2016. So this video will probably be published after my Polker overview, and Polker is 6 years old at this stage, and VPP is how much? 4 plus 4, 8 years old. So it's definitely an older project. I think it reached 200 million market cap in the previous cycle. Let us just check the whole thing. So it happened in that of September, which is quite nice. And essentially it reached 0.9, and right now it's 0.06. So 2x there, that's 0.01. Yeah, it's 18x from here, 18x on this market cap. Yeah, it's actually around 100 million market cap, which is quite interesting by itself. I would share some information about fundraising that you will definitely find interesting at the end of the video as well. Co-founder of Virtual Poker, New York, Brooklyn, bullish, a lot of essential investors, a lot of great people in New York as well, finance capital of the world, business development and marketing. So it's interesting that we see that the guy was only able to stop his work in Consensus in January 2021, but it's still a blockchain project. It's essentially a very great thing. And the fact that he was a business developer, he basically got a lot of connections from working here, a lot of connections with VCs, with investors. He understood the market as well. So it's actually bullish for me to see that the guy was working here. And then eventually he changed to this position. It's also bullish from this point of view as he's working full time on this thing. So it's a full focus activity for him as well. And one other bullish thing that it is enough money that they have in order to basically be able to pay for salaries of these people. So it's definitely more stable, because if the guy is living in New York, he's probably not making like a small amount of money. And in terms of the Virtual Poker, yeah, it's pretty nice, it's pretty straightforward. And then we have Building Unicorn. So this guy is more like an investor, I think, advisor, right? So he's advisor for the project for 6 years. He might not be active, he might be active. Yeah, the great thing is he's the CEO of the poker strategy. So he's definitely might be helping the project because he's from the same type of business. In terms of the company that he is working with, fast growing product development company. So it might be just a consulting agency. I have some people that follow this page, so there's a high chance that it is basically some type of IT custom software development consulting company. And his last name is kind of Eastern European as well. So he might be working there, although he is the founder. So founder of the company like that's pretty nice. They should be doing nice revenue numbers. I would probably check out this company by myself. Interesting. They don't have any LinkedIn connected here. I will check it out later. So bullish on this guy just because he knows technology, as he's working and he's founding this company, and he's advisor and he's ex poker player. So very nice team member in terms of that. Business intelligence lead. So this guy is probably working with the data that's coming from players. Essentially, he might be working as a business analyst. Mathematics tutor freelance, and he's still working there. So maybe he just forgot to update this thing. Game security agent, business intelligence lead, Portugal. All right. Nice position to have in the poker game. Blockchain developer in Virtual Poker, 7 years. Wow. So he's working from 2017. So that's pretty nice, because I'm not sure if there should be like a lot of smart contract work at this stage of the project. Not sure what might be the things that this guy is working on. Maybe he was just not updating his LinkedIn profile, but pretty interesting. Sergio, front-end developer with Virtual Poker and Consensus. So we kind of see this interesting thing that the founder was business development manager at Consensus. He took front-end developer to work on Virtual Poker as well. But the guy still is working on the same two things. So he is definitely not kind of dedicating all of the time that he has to Virtual Poker. He's probably doing more things in terms of Consensus. Blockchain, poker evangelist, Virtual Poker. So this guy seems some type of investor. He works as the CEO, Loyalty Plant Finland. Software development. Interesting. So he might be basically just a head of the team who is providing development services to Virtual Poker. And the fact that he's also having essentially Eastern European, probably Russian, even first name and last name, he's probably providing the development team to this guy. So that's why he's like here 9 years and here 5 years. They might have just put him here just to increase the chances of the fundraising, show like kind of the investors that they have like a tech support on their end and things like that. The fact that they don't have a lot of full-time employees on LinkedIn, the fact that they have a guy like this, it definitely shows me that they're probably using a third-party engineering development team that is probably provided by this guy in Finland, which is quite close to Russia. Navarra Baeza, full stack developer at Virtual Poker. So nice as he's present, he does not have any additional jobs. So this guy is bullish. I think he's based in Sevilla. So I think it's Spain as well, the same as other guys. So we see that kind of team is around Spain. Which kind of makes sense. And the founder, I think he was based in Spain as well. So this guy, full stack, working only here. This guy is bullish because he's full-time working on the project. He's full stack. He probably knows the code base, working remotely. Nice. Art the director, Virtual Poker full-time. Yeah, so he's still present in some different company in Romania. He's also based in Romania. So I think this guy is more like a contractor. Maybe here he runs his own company that is providing UI and UX services to the Virtual Poker team. So it's probably a contractor type basis as well. Tax and accounting at Consensus. Interesting. So a lot of Consensus team, they essentially work on Virtual Poker as well, which is quite bullish by itself because I think Consensus, yeah, it's quite a big company and they definitely is a successful company. So it's quite interesting that if you have a lot of team members from the same thing and the company is successful, they're working on the other thing, that would provide you with a high chance probability that this thing would also be successful essentially as well. Then we have Virtual Poker fundraising information. So following the LinkedIn, it's not bad. I think that they're working with a lot of contractors, which kind of makes sense. It allows you to essentially have your spending for the development team as tax deductible as your you're paying the contractors as well. Core team is in-house. The kind of negative point might be the fact that they're working in consensus at the same time. So we saw one engineer at least, and we saw one tax person working in consensus. But in terms of one engineer and one tax person, they're probably not like the core of the team. So essentially, the core of the team is the full stack guy that we saw, and probably some other team members that are being essentially taken from the guy who is based in Finland that I've mentioned with Russian first name and last name. Information about the fundraising. So I was pretty interested to see this info because I definitely thought that they've fundraised less money. It's 5 million, 2 million, 11.5 million, 25, 250k, 250k, and 964k. So following these investments, that should be around 17 million at this stage. The total raise 20 million. So it's quite huge by itself. The main thing is for us to understand what is the situation with the tokens currently, where this fundraising took place, and were they able to essentially take ROI and take profits on the fundraising event already. So as we see currently, the whole tokens, they essentially are unlocked at this stage. So team essentially has them. And interesting part is that there were things, I think they were fundraising either this summer or last summer. There were news essentially about Pantera Capital inputting some money this summer into this project as well. So for us, the main thing is to understand whether or not they were able to take profits already, or they're still essentially riding this whole thing. So I feel like they were taking profits here and they were taking profits right here as well. So it was at 100 million market cap. I think they might have actually took some profits here as well, and here maybe as well. So it might have been at 100k, at 100 million market cap at the highs. So they basically had like 3 to 4 stages of taking profits here. With the current liquidity, like it's a low liquidity token. So I think it's 7 million market cap currently, but if we would check on the DEX tools, so DEX tools would show us liquidity only in terms of the DEX, but we would be able to understand what is the situation on the exchanges as well. Yeah, so it's a very low liquidity for 7 million. So they probably have a bunch of tokens on essentially exchange as well. But yeah, it's a very, very low liquidity in terms of this market cap. But it's probably because of the fact that they have a bunch of the liquidity on the exchanges, because they're all token, and exchanges, they probably should have a bunch of it as well. And they are probably on a bunch of exchanges. So let us check. Oh, so they're only on Max currently. Let's check out so we can compare the liquidity, right? So on Max it shows 1. Interesting. And on Uniswap, it shows most of the liquidity. Yeah, so it's definitely a low liquidity token at this stage. And if the guys invested 20 million with this type of liquidity, if we would just multiply it by 14 to get us to 100 million market cap that this token was in the previous cycle, we would basically just multiply 200 by 14, and we would get 2.8 million in terms of the liquidity that was in this token on 100 million market cap in the last cycle. And essentially it would mean that it was reaching this amount of liquidity several times through the last cycle. And it's interesting that they definitely were not able to withdraw 20 million that they invested through several times that this token was reaching this 2.8 million. So they should have around half of the money they invested still in the token, which is bullish for us, because which would mean that they essentially would be looking to pump up the price of the token high, and essentially after that take profits on the token as well. So some things they actually might be bearish, because low liquidity might show us that fully diluted might be way higher than it is currently. So the fully diluted market cap is 32 million, which means that a bunch of tokens, they're essentially still being held by investors, which is quite interesting. So there might be some private things that are happening in the background, and obviously Dayton coin market cap is something that you cannot believe fully. But if it shows that there is only 20% of the token in the circulation at this stage, that means that we had 7 million currently, and we can jump to 30 million. And if all of the tokens that would be in circulation would basically have the same price. So that would mean that I would essentially have the same amount of dollar value, because I would have the same amount of token, and the token would essentially have the same price. I'm not sure about the vesting schedule here. I'm not sure when this essentially these 400 million of tokens will be added into the market as well. I think this might be from the funds that they've raised this summer or last summer and following the vesting schedule, but I was not able to essentially find information there, because I think this website, it shows information from the previous cycle, so that on November 22 they should have all of the tokens, which is quite interesting by itself. From other point of view, it's bullish because in order to pump the price of some token, what do you need? You need to have a low amount of tokens in circulation. You need to hold most of the tokens, so you can basically just buy all the tokens that are in circulation currently, pump the price up. So a lot of retail and new people, they would see that essentially the funds, the pricing of the token goes up. Therefore, they would want to buy this token as well because it's charging up and things like that. Then you push new tokens into the circulation and you take profits based on the retail, like not understanding what is happening. So in terms of the setup, I do like the setup because it shows that a bunch of tokens, they are still in the hands of funds, in people who invested into the token as well. It's very easy to pump the price up because of the low liquidity of the token. I'm not sure about vesting schedule. It might be a bit bearish, but even with the full vesting, so if you would imagine that like the whole amount of tokens is in circulation, so they would basically need to 5x the current liquidity. Current liquidity is 200k, 5x is 700k. They won't be able to take profits on 10 million if they would even push the liquidity to 700k. In order to take profits in terms of like 10 million that they've invested, they would have to push the token higher. So they would want to have like at least $500 million market cap to kind of take the profits easily on the whole thing as well. So this is why it makes me bullish in terms of this token. At the same time, we have pretty nice funds. So these are tier 2 funds following this website, but they're pretty nice by themselves. So Fenbushi, Pantera, Consensus as well. So it's kind of interesting. A lot of guys, they're working in Consensus and they're investing in this token as well. And obviously their business is to make ROI on the things that they invest to, take profits. So this is very bullish. I think we might see the picture similar to Solana and basically most of the tokens on the market that have been manipulated by funds. They take all circulation from the hands of retail. They make it easy for them to pump the price because they have all the tokens and they can just set the price the way they want. Once they buy all the tokens, they just pump the price up. Retail sees that the price is pumping up. They start to buy these tokens as crazy, and then essentially they keep taking profits on the correction as well. So this is something quite interesting. I'm quite bullish in terms of the setup on this whole thing. As mentioned, I could have 100k if I would kind of allocate my funds properly. I do plan to hold this till the end of 2024 at least and see what the situation would be there. I think by the end of 24, it's an easy like from 10 to 50x in terms of the current market cap and the current situation token. And I do think that we might actually correct around spring or summer of the next year in terms of the whole market and in terms of this token as well. But pretty nice play, pretty interesting overview from my end. I definitely learned some new information myself as well in terms of the team members, and they're connected with the fund. They are ex-employees of the fund. They know how the fund is making money. The guy was a business development representative, business development manager. So he understands like how to get the projects in, the founders, how the whole thing is being played in the background with the investments, with market makers and things like that. So it's a very interesting and bullish setup. And with Alex Becker partnering this whole thing and Hustle essentially talking about it, because the guy is mostly working on the insights. And it definitely makes sense that before he probably did not have information that he started to get recently. Maybe he heard something from some people in terms of the VPP. But yeah, I think it's a great thing. I think it will be pumping moving forward because previously it was only Becker. Right now it's Hustle as well. Hustle's calls are usually nice because he's calling things before. So it's not like he's not calling things on the top. So it's definitely a pick that you would want to focus at, and you would want to increase your allocation, not just buy the whole thing right away, but increase your allocation over time to take profits at the end of 2024. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.